Our first keynote speech today is by Professor Bernard Faure, and our respondent will be Mark Unno. I'll go ahead and introduce both of them. Bernard Faure is well known to all of us. He is a Cowell Professor in Japanese Religion at Columbia. He has published numerous books in French and English, including The Rhetoric of Immediacy, Chan Insights and Oversights, Visions of Power, The Red Thread, and The Power of Denial. He is currently working on a book about Japanese gods and demons. Mark Unno is Associate Professor of East Asian Religions at the University of Oregon. He is serving on the editorial board of the Journal of Religious Ethics and the steering committee of the Buddhist Critical Constructive Thought Group at the American Academy of Religion. He is author of Shingon Refractions, Myoe and the Mantra of Light, and editor of Buddhism and Psychology Across Cultures, co-editor of Kokoro no Yamai to Shukyosei, and Buddhism and Depth Psychology. So I will now turn the mic over to Bernard, and thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, so Remapping Japanese Religions, The View from Medieval Japan is the title of my talk. Recent studies have aimed at bringing about a rediscovery of the Japanese Middle Ages by emphasizing the symbolic realm, and in particular the cults of the gods. Prior to that, gods had been relatively neglected for a variety of reasons. Either they were too quickly relegated to the background as secondary figures in a traditional Buddhism that was in principle atheistic, or they were reduced to abstract entities by an official Shinto whose nationalist drift has caused an eclipse in scholarly studies. Recent studies on medieval Shinto, however, have shown the extent to which it was influenced by esoteric Buddhism. And here, of course, I'm referring to the seminal work by Kuro Toshio and his followers. In particular, the impressive mythological efflorescence that marked the medieval period, not only in the religious domain, but also in the political, artistic, and literary spheres. So then I talk about the return of the gods. The recent study of Japanese religion has seen a move away from doctrinal studies and great thinkers toward a greater emphasis on social structures. The current disinterest of Western Japanologists for the gods may also betray a lingering Durkheimian influence, since Émile Durkheim famously claimed that gods were not a central element in the definition of religion. Historians of religions have tended to pay less attention to the pantheons and its citizens. According to the functionalist thesis, gods are ciphers, shorthands for social realities. In the case of Buddhism, this tendency may also result from the still widely held notion of a rationalist teaching founded by a historical Buddha who did not believe in gods. A lot of quotation marks here, right? Scholars may have been too quick to take this statement at face value and shift their focus to allegedly more noble topics. In doing so, they may have thrown not only the baby Buddha with the bathwater, but also a number of other divine infants and elephants. I don't know how that translates, but anyway. Even if the gods are simply shorthand for social phenomena, as functionalist scholars claim, they also have their own level of reality and their own dynamics, structural or otherwise. They cannot be so easily withdrawn from the game. The gods which had been expelled are returning, perhaps with a vengeance. But these gods are no longer exactly kami, allegedly autochthonous deities, nor even Buddhas. Likewise, the demons, which had supposedly been converted or annihilated, were able to subvert, to shake from within, as it were, the structures of the Buddhist and Shinto pantheons. Ultimately, we are dealing with a new category of gods constituted of quasi-demonic and deities. A quick critique of the two religions' view of Japanese culture may be in order. It is now generally accepted that in pre-modern Japan, Shinto and Buddhism were not the separate entities they gradually became. First locally in nativist circles during the Edo period, then officially during the Meiji Restoration. Unlike Taoism in China, Shinto was able to establish itself as imperial and national ideology, while continuing to claim the status of religion of the people. The eventual success of the new Shinto ideology hides its old antagonism toward local cults. In a sense, it inherits the violence that the imperial system did to local myths, while building on them to write the classical mythology that became the canon of Shinto. Standard histories gladly paper over this fact. Although medieval religions or ways, Buddhism in its exoteric and esoteric forms, or Myodo, Shugendo, and nascent Shinto, provided vehicles for local cults and beliefs, they simultaneously entertained an ambivalent relationship with them. The complementarity with local religion that both Buddhism and Shinto, and I always use Shinto, of course, here again in quotation marks, right, as ideologies, eventually reached, is the result of a long and strenuous negotiation permitted by the mediation of new groups of ritual specialists, or Myoji, Shugenja, and the like, which appeared during the medieval period, at mid-distance between the higher and lower classes. Another important factor was the emergence of the performing arts, the so-called geino. There was also a significant shift in communal rituals. Next to small village cults and the nameless religion appear large urban festivals like Gion Matsuri, for instance. The Gozu Tenno cult of Gion Shrine is a good example of urban festivals dedicated to anthropomorphic deities on the occasion of their birthday. Thus, the rich brocade of medieval Japanese Buddhism was made of many more strands than the simplistic distinction between Buddhism and Shinto would suggest. It is, first of all, the uneasy and necessarily imperfect combination of different worldviews and cosmological and mythological systems, in particular the Indian, Tantric, and Chinese, Taoist and Confucianist. This model is above all a way of integrating the gods, reducing them to passive objects in a broader synthesis. Now, I speak a bit about Buddhas and kami. Medieval Japanese Buddhism is often hastily characterized as a syncretism. The term syncretism implies indeed the fusion of two or more distinct and relatively monolithic currents. In medieval Japan, however, the foreign and distinct nature of Buddhism was no longer perceived by the average Japanese, and the notion of an autochthonous Shinto, pure of any influence, had not yet emerged. So-called Shinto has, in fact, as we all know now, a rather late origin, and result in large part from the speculation of Buddhist monks regarding Japanese deities. The latter, the kami, did not yet have anything very specific in relation to deities of Indian or Chinese origin, in particular the Indian devas, which are the protectors of Buddhism. The Japanese pantheons comprises various categories of gods, and the kami are only one category among others, probably not the most important one from the ritual mythological standpoint. The multiplicity or quasi-fractal nature of medieval Japanese deities is not merely the expression of their complex origins, reflecting, for instance, that they originated as professional deities in different social groups and consequently changed as these groups themselves have evolved. This social determinism is obvious and almost trivial. It also reflects an essential, this fractal nature, right, also reflects an essential ontological multiplicity that cannot and should not be reduced to historical accidents. All gods are plural. First, in the sense that they are worshipped locally. This is a referential context I just mentioned. They are always, in the context of their cult, the deity of such and such place. they are not for all that susceptible to shift to the collective. But they are also plural because they owe their being to a network of relations that connects them to a pantheon. The Buddha category is also much more diverse than it seems, including not only the historical Buddha and the transcendent Buddhas of Mahayana, but also designating the spirits of the dead of popular religion, Hotoke, right? We have therefore Buddha and Buddha, Kami and Kami, and between them all kinds of intermediaries. Furthermore, the Buddhas are sometimes perceived as gods, whereas gods and demons become Buddhas. On the other hand, some gods who resist against Buddhism are debased to the rank of demons. At any rate, for popular religiosity, the ones and the others are often interchangeable. Indeed, one of the characteristics of medieval religion is its dizzying round of divine identities. Gods are identified with each other, and not only as in theory between essences, Buddha and traces, Suijaku, Kami, but between Buddhas and Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, wisdom kings, Myo, Devas, etc., vertically, horizontally, and obliquely, any way you want, right? Obviously, it's difficult in these conditions to speak of Buddhas and Kami as if they were two waterproof categories allowing to define two religions called Buddhism and Shinto. As to the idea of a syncretism that fused these two religions during a large part of Japanese history, until the so-called Meiji Restoration put things back in order, it presupposes that one first created and separated artificially two religions. It is, therefore, an anachronism. Through such a constant creation of networks, the nature of Japanese gods came to change, and the medieval period witnesses the emergence of a new type of deities whose prototype may be the so-called wild gods, Koujin, or under an individual form, this obscure deity known by the name of Koujin, to which I'm going to return. Often the function of these deities is to control human destiny and to cause or level obstacles. They are neither Buddhas nor Kami, and even if they sometimes are called so. In fact, they can be found in all divine categories, from top to bottom of the pantheon, whose nice order they subvert. Their identity relationship from one category to another thus forms what one could call an implicit pantheon, which doubles up and subverts the explicit or orthodox pantheon. These deities of the third, but perhaps actually first, type share a number of characteristics. They all are, to a degree or another, deities of obstacles and deities that control human life in a positive or negative way. They often have an embryological nature. And this deity, the Koujin, is often defined as a deity of the placenta, for instance. They have a secret, mysterious, hidden, liminal nature. They are ambivalent and sometimes openly maleficent. They have a Chtonian aspect and are sometimes explicitly identified with the earth deity. So, we have seen that the terms Kami and Buddhas, in their delusive simplicity, hide the diversity and proliferation of such elusive categories as Bodhisattvas, wisdom kings, Devas, astral spirits, spirit of the dead, Hotoke, elemental spirits, Kami, Gongen, Myojin, Koujin, etc. In other words, we are faced with an inextricable network that excludes any simple hierarchy of the traditional Honji Suijaku type, and any clear-cut and final separation. Amaterasu, the goddess, the sun goddess Amaterasu, and Susanoo, her brother, are two examples of such new deities that only have a vague familiar resemblance with the homonymous Kami of ancient mythology. In the Kojiki, Amaterasu is a sun goddess, whereas Susanoo is a typical trickster figure who, after challenging his sister, and being sent into exile by the other Kami, become the ruler of the underworld, a position occupied in Buddhism by King Yama. Amaterasu is no shrinking violet either. This deity is sometimes represented as a warrior, and some sources allude to her reptilian nature, while others transform her into a divine fox, identified with the tantric deity Dakini Ten during enthronement rituals. We have heard about these rituals yesterday. Furthermore, like her brother, she has close relationships with the underworld and a marked Chthonian or telluric character. She is also identified with Yama. All these features define Amaterasu and Susanoo as deeply ambivalent deities, quite different from the simplistic, expurgated version of them later given by official Shinto. Indeed, they only preserve a vague resemblance with the kami of classical mythology whose name they wear, and are in many respects much closer to the wild gods personified by Kojin, to which I now turn. Because of their unknown origins, these gods were rejected by the Buddhist and Shinto orthodoxies, and were eventually excluded from the framework of Japanese religion. These gods were defined, the Kojin, these gods were defined precisely by their transgressive nature, even though at times they were reintegrated as protectors into Buddhist discourse, and were able to make good use of the logic of Buddhist esotericism. If the foreign nature is not always an element of these new deities, what are the main characteristics and functions of the Kojin? As I said, they are Janus-faced deities, god of obstacles and controller of human destiny. The name Kojin itself refers to either a category of gods or to an individual god, protector of Buddhism, who also plays an important role in religious trends like Shinto, Shugendo, and Onmyodo. The etiological narrative presents Kojin as a demon who initially caused obstruction to Buddhism. When Shariputra, one of Buddha's disciples, attempts to build a temple, he fails repeatedly because of various disasters, fire, earthquake, and so on. One night, a frightening being, an 8-armed and 8-faced demon, appears to him, claiming to be called Kojin, and also actually Vinayaka, Vinayaka referring to the elephant-headed god, also known in India as Ganesha, and to be no less than the elder brother of the Buddha. Tall claim, right? He also claims to be a demon king who will cause obstacles to Shariputra's enterprise as long as the latter does not worship him properly. The episode belongs to a topos often found in Buddhist hagiography, the encounter between an eminent monk and a demon of obstacles. Matarajin and others are like that. Only through proper worship do these demons eventually become protectors of Buddhism. In some medieval texts, Kojin rises to the top of the Buddhist pantheon, becoming a kind of demiurge, a deity who claims to have existed at the beginning of the world. It is that ancientness that makes him precisely the elder of the Buddha. That is, a god who, with a myriad of demons that form his retinue, 8 million demons, something like that. Actually, you always get a very, very precise number, 8,003,400, etc. Precise over the destinies of living beings. He is in particular the tutelary god of Japan, no less, who existed long before the apparition of the sun goddess Amaterasu herself, let alone the arrival of Buddhism. While remaining a god of obstacles and a potential enemy of the Buddhist Dharma, which makes him similar to Mara, the Buddhist tempter, Kojin also expresses the structure of sign inversion, the passage from fundamental ignorance to awakening, which characterizes esoteric Buddhism and its deities. As I mentioned, Kojin is also a placenta deity who protects human destiny from the womb to the tomb. In that respect, he seems to have played an important role in popular religion, and he belongs to a constellation of gods of obstacles, ambivalent deities whose functions, by constantly broadening, led them to become, each in turn, the primordial deity that subsumes all others. So these wild gods drift through categories: divine, demoniac, human, animal, male, female, child, old man, They can no longer be thought within the framework of the Kami-Buddha opposition that defined the cosmic and social order and the system of Japanese religion. They cannot either be simply rejected in the utter darkness of demonology or perceived as mere tricksters. It is no longer possible to assert that they constitute a kernel of opacity within a transparent structure of meaning, a kind of scandal in the field of traditional concepts. They are at the same time the source and the vanishing point of the system, what eludes the system and constitutes its very condition of possibility. One could perhaps say that the entire mythical ritual configuration, based on the opposition between Buddhas and Kami, aims at leaving unthought what makes it possible, namely the figure of the wild god. One could also say that these wild gods illustrate what some scholars, like the French scholars Pierre and André Sozo, have called the fourth function. The point here is not to reject the Dumézilian model of the three functions, which I gather you're familiar with, but to broaden it to allow it to take into account the waste or remainder, that is, that group of deities which are indeed often linked to the notion of waste or remainder and which did not easily fit within the framework of the three functions. In a nutshell, the three functions, right, that Dumézil defined in the Indo-European culture refer to sovereignty, war, first and second function, and then a more complex third function which includes prosperity, abundance, fertility, sexuality, and so on. But here now we're talking about a fourth function. According to these authors, the fourth function includes, I quote, everything that remains outside order. One finds in it everything that is other, beyond, or outside. What is psychic distance, social disqualifications, foreigners, slaves, etc. Hostility to the gods, like the demons. Forces foreign to order, harmony and continuity, like chaos, discord, and death. But also what is beyond intelligence, the fantastic, uncanny, mysterious, what concerns the other world, the paradoxical. As you can see, it's really a remainder, a residual category. But, okay, in conclusion, the gods of medieval Japan developed from the margins. Here one should perhaps invert the spandrel theory, the so-called spandrel theory proposed by Stephen Jay Gould. According to Gould, spandrels are secondary developments imposed by the architecture of a building. Of course, he's talking about evolution. And therefore, they do not play an important role in the evolution. In religious matters, however, these spandrels are not simply byproducts. On the contrary, they often come to play a central role. So what may have been initially secondary, a byproduct, takes center stage. I think this is probably what happens here. Another relevant model is rather that of a mandala, more Buddhist model, I guess, in which the peripheral courts of the mandala, right, can in turn move to the center and become independent, becoming the object of a specific cult, the so-called Besson mandala. As Ron Davidson has shown, it is this model, well adapted to a feudal society, that allowed Tantrism to become the dominant ideology in medieval India. In the ritual and mythological domains, everything is important, and a derived motif can move to the forefront according to the needs of a moment. Any spandrel can become a keystone, and conversely, any element that was chronologically prior can be relegated to the background. It is that constant passage between centrality and marginality, or even between orthodoxy and heterodoxy, that fluidity of forms and functions that characterizes medieval Japanese religion. Japanese gods of the Kojin type are therefore what, for a lack of a better term, we could call hybrids. In an entirely different domain, Bruno Latour, sociologist of science, shows us how the hybrid remains strangely unthinkable. In his book, whose title is "We Have Never Been Modern," for instance, Latour examines the gesture of separation which, at the threshold of so-called modernity, has separated nature and society, producing by the same token all kinds of hybrids. The hybrid nature of these gods is not merely mythological or doctrinal. The gods are segments of a network composed in part of other mythological figures, of course, but also of human individuals, bodies, objects, institutions, images, feelings. The structure is therefore not, as Lévi-Strauss thought, simply mental, but also material. It is a similar gesture of separation and purification that, at the threshold of the so-called Japanese modernity, separated the Buddhas and the Kamis, and hierarchized them. This gesture renders invisible the network they form, a network that allows one to constantly shift from the one to the others. Transcendent Buddhas and immanent Kami are two powers of the same constitution, which check and balance each other. And precisely because that gesture separated the Buddhas from the Kami, hybrids came to proliferate. Or rather, Buddhas and Kami existed only owing to that proliferation. They emerged against that background. Almost there. By bringing to light the hybrid nature of Buddhas and Kami, one comes to the conclusion that they are only hybrids, that hybridity itself is not an accident, but a quasi-essence, and that therefore there has never been any hybrid, because there never was from the outset any pure gods or Buddhas. All there ever was is a twofold movement of purification and mediation or hybridization. The history of Japanese religion gives the example of an actual and active, doctrinally rich and fairly self-conscious polytheism. Without going into further detail, one can assert that the medieval transformation of Japanese religion was, beyond its political, theological, and philosophical stakes, the expression of a surprisingly open worldview, which attempted to take into account what Georges Bataille called the hacker's share. Put differently, it tried to express the force function. It is the same task which, beyond a purely structural or structuralist or socio-historical approach, still waits for the historians of Japanese religion. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard. Now we'll have a response by Mark Unno.
In this very rich paper by Bernard Faure, I counted approximately 27 distinct points that he made, making it very challenging to respond to. So I'm just going to pick 4 of the points that he made and just briefly review them, apply them all to one case study from my own research, and then conclude with some observations and some questions for Bernard. In this paper focusing on the function and significance of various gods, especially the so-called wild gods, or kojin, Bernard Faure contributes to the remapping of Japanese religion both in theory and content. For in examining the kojin, he not only adds to our knowledge of the medieval Japanese pantheon, but offers us a holographic lens with which to recalibrate our understanding. What Faure calls the wild gods, however, do not correspond exactly to the traditional Japanese understandings of the kojin, which, depending on the sources being consulted, may include such figures as the storm god Susanoo and the yaksha. Among others having kojin type of wild god characteristics, he includes the sun goddess Amaterasu, and suggests that the Japanese wild gods resonate with Buddhist figures originating in India, such as Yama, the gatekeeper of the hell realms, and Mara, the tempter. Here I would like to focus on 3 or 4 aspects of the wild gods as he presents their significance for our understanding of medieval Japanese religion, such as 1, their function in symbolic space and also historical materiality; 2, their embodiment of the 4th function outside of the dominant social ideology; 3, their heteronymous nature; and 4, their taxonomy within syncretism, hybridity, and non-hybridity. After briefly reviewing these key points, we'll illustrate them with a case study and then conclude with some observations and questions. Among other approaches to the study of medieval Japanese Buddhism, Faure is critical of 2 extremes. On the one hand, there's a tendency among some to reduce the gods to mere ciphers of institutional or social power, stripping them of any intrinsic mythological significance. On the other, filtered through the lens of modern official Shinto, they can be valorized and romanticized as the pristine primal symbols of nationhood. Yet he argues that one cannot understand the significance of the gods' historical materiality if they are taken out of their symbolic space or their symbolic significance outside of their function within social realities. They can neither be captured in an NHK special solemnly describing their pristine divinity, nor be reduced to ideological indices of hegemonic power. Furthermore, he suggests that the Kojin, the wild gods, find their significance in the fourth function outside of the dominant ideological functions of the sovereign nobility and priesthood, the warriors, or the producers. Thus, the wild gods suffer the additional obscuration, being rendered as at best peripheral guardians, at worst as dangerous and destructive, as unproductive, even counterproductive in contrast to the productive economy of the other three functions. Yet, in the supposed vacuity outside of the dominant ideology, he suggests, they in fact perform essential functions. At first glance, these deities of the dark side appear as unruly obstacles to both the purity of the sacred and the harmonious functioning of the social order. Yet they are the ones who digest the waste products, who by virtue of their heteronomy mediate and purify the useless and the useful, heaven and earth, samsara and nirvana, the earthly, the erotic, and the spiritual. In that sense, they are not peripheral or secondary at all. Rather, they are at the very center of the action, gatekeepers rather than obstacles, facilitating alchemists rather than polluting melchemists. Yet they can be mischievous, angry, even perhaps malevolent. Whatever they are, though, they can neither be easily absorbed into any view of Japanese religion that would reduce the realm of divinities into a syncretistic homogeny, nor can they be understood as hybrid byproducts of the union between native kami and foreign Buddhas. The wild gods, he suggests, were there from the beginning, as it were, since the entire pantheon came into being as part and parcel of the national mytho-histories. They emerged in concert with the rest of the gods, where kami, kojin, bodhisattva, buddhas, shamans, monks, and nobility all serve one another as well as demand their own sovereignty. Pure and impure, autonomous and heteronymous, erotic and spiritual, ends unto themselves as well as means. An instance of this type of wild god can be found in the case of the deity of the Kasuga Shrine. Although there's not time here to go too much in depth, it's worth exploring this case study as it illustrates all four of the key points reviewed above. The wild godlike functions of the Kasuga Daimyojin is particularly evident in an episode involving the Kegon and Shingon monk Myoe Koben. Myoe, unable to find what he considers to be a true teacher of the Dharma in the degenerate age of Mappo, decides to go on a pilgrimage to India, the birthplace of the Buddha, in the hopes of being inspired. In order to gain blessings for his journey, he seeks out the oracle of the Kasuga deity, the deity of the Fujiwara clan to which he also belongs. And preparing to deliver the oracle, his cousin, the woman of Yuasa, the miko or shamaness of the Kasuga shrine, undertakes a fast in preparation. Entering a trance, she becomes the vessel for the deity's pronouncements. The deity, in turn, is the suijaku, the manifestation or flowing trace of the essence or fundamental ground, which in this case is none other than the Buddha Shakyamuni himself. The scene that unfolds is vivid and surprising. After 3 days of prayers, in a trance, she spoke with a thick odor accompanying her breath. It covered everything, reaching a distance of more than 400 yards. The Kasuga deity spoke to Myoe through her and said, "I love you as I would my own dear child, but it is to be regretted that you have been neglecting your studies of late. I am like your father. You are assured of being born in the Tushita heaven in your next life, but you should serve as a teacher for humans while you are in this world. Your desire to go to India is a great source of concern for me, for you should stay here and teach the peoples in Japan. You should come to the Kasuga shrine and live in Nara." After the deity had finished speaking, she lifted Myoe up by her hands and cradled him. Tears filled the deity's eyes as she looked into Myoe's face with tender affection. She said, "Do not go against my word, no matter what happens." Then the deity exuded a sublime, sweet flavor on her hands, feet, and mouth, and Myoe and the other people present licked this nectar off her body and became enraptured. Ford's analysis invites us to take this episode seriously without reducing it to something else, a mere literary trope, an ideological cipher, a mystical experience, a Freudian eruption of suppressed sexuality, an object of the male gaze, a scholarly fetish. Instead, without our being able to decipher it as something else, he suggests, it stands on its own, finding significance on the one hand as mediating Myo's quest for enlightenment, and on the other, commanding our attention as an end in itself, a human divine scene that refuses to be reduced to the familiar. Of course, to see it in terms of its mediating, purifying function itself is a kind of reductionism insofar as any interpretation or explanation must be, yet in this case, rather than make one comfortable, identifying the key role that the Kasuga deity plays as gatekeeper, as gateway, as mediator and purifier of defiled world and Buddha land, Ktonos and Uranos, Eros and Anima, leaves one with a discomforting image of a monk who prides himself on his monastic purity, submitting to the incestuous entreaties of a woman who embodies the gods. In effect, she is the only religious authority to which he is willing to submit, and according to his words, as recorded in the Himitsu Kanjincho, his submission takes the form of his licking a nectar-like substance from her body. His cousin, the woman of Yuasa, is an instrument of the god Kasuga. The Kasuga deity is an instrument of the Buddha Shakyamuni, and yet the woman commands one's attention as herself, a miko hearkening back to the sun goddess Amaterasu and her incestuous union with the storm god Susanoo. The Kasuga deity asserts his presence, keeping Myoe in Japan, and Myoe is required to find the Buddha within the present rather than in the mirage of a paradisiacal India. So then, who is in the dominant position? The Honji or the Suijaku, the Buddha or the Kami, Myoe the pure monk or his cousin the shamaness? Or by turns, do they each assert themselves as well as serve one another, manifesting the sovereignty of divinity and or Buddha nature, as well as mediating for the other, Buddha, Kami, clan, community? In any case, the Fourian lens brings our eyes to focus on a vivid scene that arguably cannot easily be reduced merely to the terms of Buddhist doctrine or the sterile analysis of structures of political power, or relegated to the margins or wasteland of an otherwise clean and straightforward biography of a pure monk, or to the harmonious syncretism or hybridity of Buddhism and its tame protector gods. The gods, then, may be wild, not just in the sense that their impulses cannot be easily tamed, but that they also defy the scholar's dogmas of domestication, even as they capture one's imagination. To conclude with a question for Bernard Faure, in hearkening to themes and episodes in other contexts, to Indian Tantrism and to Yama and Mara, you potentially invite us to rethink even the earliest Buddhist episodes. For example, the role of Sujata, the maiden who brings milk to Siddhartha, is often overlooked. Can she be seen, understood as embodying the fourth function? Siddhartha, too, not only abandons his princely station, his family, to enter the Shramana culture, and then further becomes a failed ascetic. He too may be perhaps seen in light of the fourth function, as he abandons his asceticism to enter the river Nairanjana and approach Sujata on the banks of the other shore. Can this encounter be central rather than peripheral, an encounter between two wild divine spirits? Could Sujata have been the great master who led Siddhartha to become the Buddha, or all of the other Indian sages that he had visited had failed for 6 years? If so, then should we begin to look for other such wild divine spirits in Buddhist history? Shanmyao to Wisong, Mori to Ikkyu, Teishingi to Ryokan. And what would Bataille think of this Buddhist turn on his accursed share of erotic to sovereign and the sovereign erotic, the use of the useless, and the uselessness of the useful? Thank you very much.
Bernard, would you like to respond to Mark first, or would you like us to open it to questions?
Oh, okay, maybe I can just say a few words about Mark's comments, for which I thank him, and they're very perceptive. Actually, yes, your final point about Sujata, I think, is very well taken. This is really interesting, and I've been thinking along these lines too. I do think she's a kind of representative of the Earth deity, and we can really certainly look at the legend of the Buddha, Siddhartha, here in a different light. For instance, there's the famous, the temptation of Mara. The earth deity appears, of course, as a witness of Buddha when he's being attacked or challenged by Mara. Now, other version, I mean, this is usually the only version we have, but later versions of the story, of course, tell us that the earth actually appeared twice, or that there were two earth deities that had manifested themselves, and one was like this kind of witness type, and the other was like a much more forceful deity, which is said to be unmoving, like Anchala, right? And that actually appears as full armed warrior. In later Japanese tradition, she actually becomes Fudo, right? But so there are many aspects like that where the earth deity clearly, which has been expurgated and is still being pushed away today in Southeast Asia, for instance, where from the Buddhist tradition, right? And there's a very nice dissertation by an author whose name I suddenly forgot. But anyway, one of the students of Paul, actually, right? Paul Harrison.
Elizabeth Guthrie.
Right, Elizabeth Guthrie. Yes, there's a very interesting dissertation there where she goes into this and the importance of earth deity in Southeast Asia. So in Southeast Asia today, for example, the earth as a woman is being. There was a problem to the Buddhists that this woman, very, very actually pretty, right, would be so close to this ascetic, right? So they tend to push her aside. The point is, yes, I think the earth deity was really important, but has been constantly marginalized, and there are many ways in which we could read the legend of a Buddha by putting her back to where in a proper place. And Mara himself is a figure of the earth too, right? Because what does he want? He simply wants to keep Buddha in this world, right? The world which Mara, like Kojin, controls, right? He doesn't like ascetics because ascetics really are living, right? Going beyond this world. So he's really just a ruler of this world. And that's also one of the functions of the earth deity by definition. So that's one thing. And the Buddha, therefore, also this notion that the Buddha, because precisely it transcends all this earthly function, could be seen as a manifestation of the fourth function, is also, I think, very perceptive. This is really, it would be interesting to see him in this way. Now, as to Kasuga, the Kasuga deity definitely has also this Kojin. Well, of course, Kasuga deity or deities, right? We have 4 deities, and I've been recently thinking about this because I've been trying to find reason why one very famous form of Kojin, which is Myoken Bosatsu, the Bodhisattva, if you like, but the deity of the pole star is sometimes represented with a deer head over his head. There's a beautiful mandala being now exhibited at the Metropolitan Museum, where you see him like that with a deer head. And trying to think what does this deer head means? Of course you're looking toward Kasuga, and there is one I found recently in one catalog, a beautiful box, a jewel box of Kasuga, in which you see the 4 deities of Kasuga riding deers, and then you have the 7 stars of the Northern Dipper, right? Okay, so I'll stop there. Oh, but I'll mention actually, speaking of Kasuga, I just walked by a mistake yesterday into the faculty club, trying to go to my room, and then I noticed there's a beautiful mandala, between the 2 floors. In the central deity being one of the 5 Myo, I think it's Gundari actually, not Fudo is in the corner, and there's also the Kasuga there. So I'd love to know more about this, because Kasuga is definitely an interesting place in this context of a Kojin and so on. Stop here.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I do want to leave some time for questions. So we have about 10 minutes for questions, I think. If anybody, I think I saw Hank's hand first, and then we'll go to...
Hi, I'm Hank Glassman from Haverford College. Thanks, Bernard, you've given us a lot to think about. You were just talking about sort of a tension between the particular and the universal, right? And I feel like when you're talking about the earth deity, even though you've rejected the idea of the kami, right, in the old model, as pure and autochthonous, I feel like you've left a door open, as it were, to kind of bringing back the autochthonous in this. So one question I want to ask you is, in Japan, to what degree do you see these kojin as sort of the original, if you will, autochthonous deities of Japan, right, that are kind of asserting themselves? Because I see room for that, and I'd like to know your response to it.
Right.
Another question has to do with, you mentioned gods of the professions or professional deities, right? So I figure you're talking about the shukujin or shaguji or sekijin, ishigami. I don't know how you want to think about it, but the shukujin. And there's an interesting question there, the degree to which these gods are gods of the margins, right, who are clearly central, and the ways in which they relate to certain populations, right? So we can take these professional deities to be very much, I suppose, restricted, right, and local to their own populations, right, of people who have a very important central role in purification and sort of prophylaxis and things like that, and yet are kept at arm's length. So what is the relationship then between the specificity of these gods of professions, right, which are kojin, to these populations, and their sort of embrace by the larger population in a wider sense? Thanks.
Okay. Yes, definitely. Many of these kojin tends to start as you say, shukujin, or actually not start as shukujin. Shukujin seems to be a later and more abstract concept, trying to precisely take one of these deities and turn it into a central deity, right? So it's constant. And the recurring phenomenon, each one really wants to prove, each group wants to push its deity to the forefront, right? So in that sense, they are not marginal or central deities. They are marginalized and centralized deities. It's always a dynamics, right? And so I'm not sure exactly what I could say about that. Definitely, in the sense, when you think of shukujin, so shukujin, the name of a term that designates many different things, right? The deity of the shuku, which are then therefore these, what do you call them, hamlets or way station, right? Stations in which you have all these marginal people living, right? All hinin and so on. And it's the god of the shuku, the stars. And it's also god of shuku, destiny, right? So right there, the polysemy is incredibly striking, right? So one aspect of this deity is that there are actually often of them archaic deities, the relation with the shakuji, of course, of Suwa and all that points in that direction, that they come from very far. They seem to be autochthonous in that sense. Now, when we talk about autochthonous, of course, there's a tendency to, again, go back to this kind of notion of origin and pure gods, which maybe I fall back into that trap now and then. But precisely, these notions of kojin or shukujin, because of their polysemy, prevent us from doing that. They can never become pure, right? And they can never become recentral or orthodox. By definition, they are already too complicated, I think, right? So there's a tendency. Certainly, you see when you see someone like Zenchiku, right, who tries to take the shukujin and make it this grand demiurge, right, the primordial deity of Japan. Of course, he's an intellectual. He has a tendency to turn these local deities into an abstract concept, right, and to turn this into theology. But he fails. And ultimately, I think they all fail because precisely the shukujin are resistant to that kind of move.
I believe Ryuichi had a question.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed your talk. I was particularly I found your discussion of the movement of kojin and kojin-type gods from the periphery to center particularly inspiring, and I totally agree with your observations. I wonder if you could observe or imagine the cultural or social relevance of that kind of movement. What kind of social and cultural conditions do you relate or find relevant to that kind of change? I understand, and I
Right.
appreciate your position that you do not like to reduce these mythologies.
I may have been a bit too
institutions.
strong there.
Yeah.
When,
But I think it is reasonable for us to
Of course.
imagine that it doesn't prohibit you from making association between your observations of mythology with the change in social and cultural conditions.
Right, right.
The
yeah.
larger context of my question is, I found your observations more strongly effective and applicable when we look at writings of perhaps later medieval period, but much less so for earlier writings.
Right. Okay. So yes, I don't know. Yeah. In order to make a point, of course, you really simplify it, right? So when I criticize socio-historical reductionism, I don't think I use this, but Mark has been, saying that somehow I see this as irrelevant, or what did you say? I forgot. But anyway, this is not the case. I certainly I want to emphasize the socio-historical background is very important. Now, it so happened that somehow, in order to see these gods, I had to kind of bracket to some extent, right? The socio-historical context in order to really see the structure. This being done, then I would like to move back to, as you point out, to the importance of the socio-historical changes that brought this about. The problem is so far, I don't know so much yet. I'm sure you would have a lot to teach me there. Basically, as Hank pointed out, very often some of them really are very orthodox. They emerge from within, Mikkyo, Tomitsu, and Taimitsu. For example, Miidera is certainly a place where you see, and Yeizan and Daigoji definitely are really places that are been very central. So they are really, as I say earlier, product of monks' speculation or dreams, wild dreams maybe, wet dreams maybe. This is from Yoe. But others really seem to emerge on the margin of the Buddhist institution, namely with the so-called like the blind singers, right, the minstrels, all the Geino performers, right, the Sarugaku actors and so on. So those are the professional type of gods that Hank was referring to. And a deity like Benzaiten, for example, she's clearly she's really a Taimitsu. Yeah? She redevelops at Yeizan and around Yeizan, Biwa Lake, and so on. And then, but also very much among the Biwa Hoshi and this kind of artist, right? So here, I think it points toward, it could be relatively easy, I think, to follow some of these deities into their, to look at their social background. Others are much more complicated, I think. When we talk about Shagoji, are really, there's been a few good studies, and Lisa certainly has worked on Suwa and knows that there's good studies there. But in terms of really, how did these deities emerge, and how far do you have to trace them back to understand really what or who they are, and what groups were behind them? That's really hard, I think. So, and because of them, really have been actively repressed also, right? The Kojin types, again, between Eastern and Western Japan, I think this is a point that Nakazawa Shinichi made. One of very few points that I think he makes that I think are interesting and relevant. But anyway, the distinction between Eastern and Western Japan, and the fact that in Western Japan and central, around the capital to this deities marginal had been kind of repressed, whereas in peripheral places like Suwa, but also in Eastern Japan, or like on the margin of the Western Japan, like Shikoku, like you can see today with, for instance, back to Homyodo, with Izanagi-ryu, for example, where you see those deities resurfacing. They are important there. So you could also look at this kind of anthropological or ethnographic background. But it's kind of complicated, and I'm not there yet.
So from your point of view, the most exciting things about medieval Japan started after Onin War.
After
Onin War?
Yeah, I would say much of that stuff is really around that time. All the yeah, it's true. Okay, you got me. No, it's true. It's 14th century, let's say.
The two dialogue participants are Professor Tamamuro and Janine Sawada. Professor Tamamuro is Professor Emeritus of History at Meiji University. He has served as the president of the Nihon Fuzokushi Gakkai and Nihon Kindai Bukkyoshi Gakkai, and on the board of Nihon Sangaku Shugen Gakkai. His publications are numerous, and I will perhaps just mention a few of them. Edo Bakufu no Shukyo Tosei, Shinbutsu Bunri, and various others. More recently, Nihonjin no Shukyo to Minkan Shinko, and most recently has been working on a really monumental collection of Meisaicho from the early Meiji period, which the volumes are still forthcoming, so they'll be a great resource for scholars working on that transitional period. And the second speaker is Janine Sawada, who is Professor of Religious Studies and East Asian Studies at Brown University. She has served as the president of the Society for the Study of Japanese Religions, and her publications include Confucian Values and Popular Zen, Sekimon Shingaku in 18th century Japan, and Practical Pursuits, Religion, Politics, and Personal Cultivation in 19th century Japan. And without further ado, I leave the floor to Professor Tamamuro and Professor Sawada.
Right. 今ご紹介に預かりました玉室ですが、いろいろご紹介いただいたほど大した仕事はしておりません。日本語で、やらせていただきます。であらかじめ、原稿をお渡しして、それを今日はダンカン・ウィリアムさんが後ろで、英語に直してくださることになっておりますので、英語の方はそれでお願いしたいと思います。で原稿をあらかじめ渡してあります原稿を読ませていただいて発表に変えます。で私が当たりましたのは近世近代の仏教についてというところでございました。で近世近代の仏教の特色といいますのは、中世までの寺院が下護者、つまりスポンサーによって生活を保障されていましたけれども、それと異なってキリスト教を禁止する寺受け制度が近世になるとできます。で全国民が仏教徒にされました。でそのことによって檀家制度というものが出来上がりまして、寺院経営は非常に安定することになりました。また現存する寺院の約 80% は近世の初期1640年から1670年までに成立しております。そこでいくつかに分けましてご説明しますが、5つぐらいに分けて説明をしたいと思います。でまず一つは本寺と末寺の制度と、それから檀家収奪の構造というものをまず考えてみたいと思います。私は曹洞宗の寺の息子に生まれましたけれども、寺というのは檀家からどのくらい収益を上げるかというのが一番のポイントでありまして、寺の僧侶というのは学問をするんではなくてどう計算するかというところにポイントがあります。皆さんもお間違いのないように、坊さんというのは尊敬するというふうにお考えでしょうけども、キリスト教の牧師は知りませんけども、仏教の僧侶というのはそういう目で見ていただきたいというふうに思います。さて今日お坊さんも見えてますからあまり悪口言っていけない。まず第一のところですが、仏教教団が幕藩権力を背景として教団組織を完璧に形成し、本山直属の団林、つまり学校でありますけれども、そこでは修学の研鑽が行われ、近世的な仏教教学が確立しました。それに伴い、戒律などが見直されて、僧侶の階級も修学と修行の期間や成績によって厳格に規定されていきました。 で一方で本寺と末寺の階級序列も形成されました。ところで寺院建築は時代とともに伽藍が拡大され、大伽藍を持つ寺院が全国至る所に作られ、そこでは住職による葬式ですね、や民衆に対する布教が行われました。仏教教団の組織は大きく分けますと、本寺と末寺に分けられます。で、本寺は末寺の僧侶を人身支配はもとより、末寺の財産権も掌握して、本末制度を完全な収奪組織にしていきました。数多くの僧侶の階級、これに伴う免許状の取得料、取り次ぎ料、本山への伽藍修復費用の末寺への割り付け、宗祖の恩紀を50年ごとに行いますが、その時は末寺に寄付金を割り付けております。毎年の上納金の収奪、寺の名前を取るときに事号と申しますが、それの免許料、それから諸仏、さまざまな仏様、あるいは重物などの寄付金、で本寺は末寺から際限ない収奪を行っております。江戸時代の末寺は本寺の経営基盤としてのみ機能したと言ってもいいと思います。一方、末寺はさまざまな本寺からの収奪を檀家に転嫁します。檀家は15仏寺の法要を義務付けられるとともに、宗祖の期日、宗祖が亡くなった日ですね、それからお釈迦さんの期日、2月15日ですが、それから裏盆へ、お盆です。それから春や秋の彼岸へ、さらに先祖の命日、そういう日には必ず寺参りをすることを義務付けられます。また、末寺の同等伽藍修復の費用を割り付けられ、年々の檀徳、これは毎年の檀家の負担金でありますが、の徴収、指導金貸付利息の取り立て、つまりお堂を建てるためにお金を檀家に貸し付けます。これを指導金と言いますが、大体 10% から 15% ぐらいの利子を取ります。さらに、土地を貸しまして、小作料を取り立てます。で、このように、末寺は、檀家を経営基盤として位置づけております。で、このような関係は、1635年頃から、キリシタンの摘発の寺受証文を作る作業を寺院が請け負うことになります。これから非常に強くなっていきました。寺院は檀家がキリシタンでないことを保証することと引き換えに、檀家を寺院住職の思い通りに支配する体制を着々と形成していきました。このような寺院による檀家支配体制が確立しましたのは1700年頃と考えていいと思います。で、この頃から寺院は過去帳を作成します。檀家に対して墓石の建立も義務付けます。で、境内や伽藍を拡大していったのもこの頃からであります。2番目に、民衆にとって寺院と僧侶というのはどういうものであったかということを考えます。で、民衆の側から言えば、中世以前は非常に遠い存在であった寺院の僧侶が、自分たちの身近な日常生活における年中行事と関わり合いを持つようになりました。これまで武士階級のみしかできなかった葬式法要も寺で行われるようになりました。 そして葬式寺である旦那寺が共同体の秩序と深く関わりを持ち合い、さらに民衆の生活は寺と切っても切れない関係になります。寺院建築の拡大とともに、寺が共同体の集会場的役割を果たしたり、またあるときは寺小屋として教育の場ともなりました。しかしその反面、民衆は寺院住職を菩提寺の住職という本来的な姿のみではなく、ある場合は幕藩領主の手先としての戸籍係に、つまり宗門人別帳を作成するときには必ず寺の住職がキリシタンでないという判子を押さなければなりません。でこれは毎年行われます。そういう戸籍係ということにも考えられますし、またキリシタンの摘発役人、キリシタンを捕まえる役人という、幕府の構造の一番下の役人の役割も寺の住職に与えられます。または指導金利息を督促する高利貸し、つまり金融業者ですね、にから土地の小作料を徴収する、日本では地主と言いますけれども、地主の役割、それから寄付集めをする勧進坊主と、いくつもの顔を持って民衆と対応することになります。でこのように檀家は寺院住職によって完全に人身支配されることになります。つまり寺の言うことを聞かないと判子をしてもらえません。判子をしてもらえないとキリシタンということになります。でキリシタンは幕府が禁止しておりますから、キリシタンになると長崎奉行に送られるか、江戸のキリシタン詮索奉行に送られて、大半はそこで殺されるというのが普通であります。そしてその人が殺されるだけではなくて、男の場合には5世代にわたって、女の場合には3世代にわたって正規の戸籍から外されます。それを否認戸籍と、人にあらずと書いて否認と言いますから、宗門人別帳に入っているのが普通の人で、人でないという扱いになって差別をされる。でこういう人たちが明治維新の段階で約20万人おりました。そういうわけで、民衆にとって寺というのは、この信仰を持ってそこに寄っていったというのではなくて、たまたまこの制度ができたときに近所にあった寺と示談関係を結ぶと。つまりさまざまな宗派がたくさんありますね。天台宗、真言宗、それから鎌倉仏教の5つの宗派、さらに南東仏教と、20近くあります。でそれがまたさらにセクトに分かれてますからたくさんありますけども、でそういう経典を民衆が読んで、そしてこれが一番良さそうだとそこに入ったわけではありません。つまり寺受け制度ができたとき、たまたま近所にあった寺と結びついただけのことで、そしてそれから離れることはできません。現在もそういう制度がずっと続いておりますけれども、明治以降は離れることは可能でありましたけど、今度は村の秩序があって、その中から一人だけ離れれば、その村では生活できなくなりますから、離れることができないというのが寺と檀家との関係であります。ですから、その寺に信仰がなければ、その寺をやめればいいじゃないかと普通思いますけども、そんなものではありません。その寺をやめればキリスト教徒ではないという判子は押してもらえません。で毎年踏み絵というのがあります。でこれはキリストの肖像やキリストのお母さんの肖像を踏むんであります。でその踏み絵というのは各村で行われました。一つずつの村で行われる。そこの村で踏んだ人に対しては寺の住職が判子をします。で大体その踏み絵が行われる場所というのは寺で行われます。で私のうちにもその踏み絵が残っておりますから、私のうちでも相当悪いことをしたんだろうというふうに思われますけれども、ですからその踏み絵を踏んだらば判子をしてくれますけど、 踏まなかったら押してくれませんから、戸籍に入ることができない。最低10年間は元に戻ることはできないです。そういう制度であります。細かいことは質問があったらもっと詳しくご説明します。さて、3番目であります。幕藩領主による寺院支配と民衆の支配ということであります。幕藩領主は中世後期から近世初期にたくさん増加してきた寺院と僧侶を幕藩体制の枠組みの中で完全に掌握します。寺院には本山や触頭寺院を通じて幕藩領主の支配倫理、つまり儒教倫理ですが、これを貫徹します。で、その一方で寺院僧侶には民衆の生活による世俗倫理を厳守させるために監督者としての任務を寺院に義務付けます。このような枠組みの中で幕藩領主が寺院保護政策を行っております。本末制度、檀家制度などの実施はまさにこのような理念の産物であります。しかし、近世の中期ぐらい、中頃になりますと、幕藩領主は、仏教寺院の、あと5分ということになりましたので、ちょっと飛ばしますね。中期ぐらい、1700年頃になりますとですね、僧侶がだんだん寺の経営を拡大していきます。で、こういうことに対してですね、今度は幕藩領主が批判するという形になって、それまでは寺院を保護して、そしてキリシタンを弾圧するという、そういう形で使っていましたけれども、そのことを軸にして寺がだんだん経営を拡大してきますと、この幕藩領主が農民から取る米を先に寺が持ってってしまいますから、そういうことを潰さなければならない。そういう政策に転換していきます。で、こういうことに対して今度は幕府の御用学者であった儒教の儒者たちからですね、批判が出てきます。で、その大きな流れは4つあります。一つは儒者ですね。合理主義的な仏教思想、合理主義的な発想から仏教思想を批判します。例えば地獄極楽というような観念、こういうものはおかしいんではないかと。それから死んで極楽へ行くっていうけども、そういうものを見た人がいるのかどうかということを確認すべきだという、そういう議論をいたします。それから2番目に今度は国学者から批判があります。元織宣長とか平田篤胤ですが、本地衰弱説を否定します。神仏集合を否定します。そして僧侶が全く戒律を守っていないじゃないかという、そういうことに対して批判します。で、これ守っておりません。ですから批判されても当然です。で、3番目に後期水戸学の思想。で、これは藤田東子や相沢庵あたりが強調しますけれども、この場合には幕藩制度、幕政改革を幕府もいたしますし、藩も藩政改革をして経済的にもっと縮小していきます。で、そういう動きの中で一番いらないのは僧侶だと。で、これは働かない遊民だという、遊ぶ民という、そういう位置づけをしております。もうちょっと詳しく喋りたいんですけども、時間がありません。で、4番目にはですね、神道、神主たちの批判があります。で、神主たちはですね、仏宗祭が非常に儲かりますので、これはけしからんと、そこで神宗祭に変えなさいと、自分たちの方にその収入を取ろうという、そういう発想ですね。細かいことは省きます。で、このような動きに対して、今度は寺側としては何とかそれを守らなければならない。で、守るためにはですね、その民衆の信仰をどう支えていくかということがテーマになります。で、その時に談義本といいまして、坊さんが話しますね。お話をします。お葬式が終わった時に。で、その時のテキストとしてさまざまなものが作られていきます。例えば浄土系でいうと、往生伝とか、 妙高人伝とかあと2分でやります。それから普通はですね、霊言記というようなものが各宗派にはあります。本尊がどのような利益を与えるかという、そういうものでですね、分かりやすく民衆に説いていきます。単なるキリシタン弾圧組織だけではないんだというのが、近世中期以降からそういう経典が出てまいります。で、明治維新の神仏分離というのが5番目のテーマとして掲げましたけれども、ここではどういう形かというと、簡単に言いますと、江戸時代、国全体としては仏教を国教として、それを軸として民衆を支配していきました。で、そういうものを全部今度は切ってしまって、逆に神道を中心とした国家を形成していこうと。で、その一番大きなそのターニングポイントになりましたのは、明治5年にですね、戸籍の中で氏子制度を作っていきます。日本人全員がどこのお宮の氏子であるか、そういう組織が出来上がっていきます。そして、その戸籍による氏子、氏寺、氏神ですね、つまり村の鎮守。で、この村の鎮守というものを国家神道を形成していくときの一番下の組織にしていきます。そして、それをトップは伊勢神宮でありますけれども、伊勢神宮を江戸時代までは神社のトップは京都の吉田神社でありました。それはなぜならば、江戸時代の神社の神主を任命する権限を吉田神社が握っておりました。ところが明治になりますと、天照大神を突然、トップに持ってきてですね、そしてこれ神儀賞が中心になるんですけども、そして天照大神を祀っている伊勢神宮をトップにして第一位にして、そして吉田神社は単なる山城の国の神社の一つにしてしまいます。ですから圧倒的に伊勢神宮が強くなってくるのは明治2年からであります。そして国家神道を形成していくという形で、江戸時代に仏教国教化だったものが今度は明治になって神道国教化に変えていく、そういう政策が動いていったということであります。そしてその廃仏毀釈というのが明治元年から明治10年ぐらいまで続きますけれども、薩長都市というのが明治政府を形成します。その中の中心だった鹿児島藩ですね。鹿児島藩では領内の4000ほどの道具を潰しまして、1100ほどの寺院を全部潰してしまいます。で、明治11年まで鹿児島県内にはですね、一家寺もお寺は存在しません。そして、西南戦争が終わった段階ぐらいから明治政府から派遣されてきた県知事がこれからは寺院の復活も認めるということを言って初めて寺院が出来上がってくると、こういう形であります。終わりました大変どうもありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Duncan, for inviting me to this conference, and also thanks to the sponsors. It's really special to be part of this group. And I'm very flattered to have been assigned the job of dialoguing with Tamamura Fumio sensei. I took my mission here in a fairly straightforward, maybe naive ways to answer the question, try to answer the question of what is Kinsei Buddhism. And so I'm going to read from some prepared remarks that I submitted earlier that are very much in broad strokes along those lines. Before I begin, though, I just want to say that I puzzled a little bit about whether the question was, what is early modern Buddhism or what is early modern Buddhism? And since the issue of periodization has come up several times already, perhaps that's something we can return to, but for now I'll go with the second emphasis. So on one level, the answer to the question, what is Kinsei Buddhism, what is early modern Japanese Buddhism, could be quite straightforward. Buddhism in the Tokugawa period was a set of institutions temples, related properties, enterprises, shogunal domain control mechanisms, as we've heard about, communities of clergy and lay people, and of course the doctrines and practices to which these people variously adhere, depending on the sect in each case. But to my mind, it's also very interesting and challenging to rephrase the question in terms of individual people. In other words, who were early modern Japanese Buddhists? If we look at it this way, the answer takes on different nuances, because even though it is certainly true that, as has been pointed out, that Terauke Seido, because of the Terauke Seido, all Japanese were Buddhists. They were all connected and controlled by the temple next door, so to speak. Most ordinary people of the time seem not to really have identified with a single religious community or tradition. And bearing this in mind, except perhaps for spokespersons and leaders, bearing this in mind, I prefer to conceptualize early modern Buddhism loosely in terms of its contribution to the larger religious universe of Japan during the 17th to 19th centuries. And that approach then allows me to reflect, if you'll permit me, on the ways in which Buddhist elements influence people's modes of thought, regardless of their stated affiliations. I think what I have to say here actually is, just to interject this, is not so much a response to Tamamuro Sensei's remarks. Actually, I didn't actually prepare it as that, as such, but it is in the sense that I simply want to highlight another aspect, and so I think this is quite complementary to what he said. One of the prominent features of early modern religion is, in fact, the diffusion of Buddhist-type values and concepts beyond the temple gates, as it were. People of the time were necessarily parishioners of their local Buddhist temples, which were integrated into and controlled by the shogunal domain system. But they satisfied their religious and ritual needs both inside and outside the established parameters. They addressed their prayers to a wide variety of extramural Buddhist deities and holy figures such as Jizo and Fudo and Kobodaishi and various kami and the wild deities that we heard about earlier today as well, or certainly still in existence. They turned to ritual specialists, to healers, diviners, exorcists, and itinerant religious teachers of various stripes without regard for any particular sectarian identity, as we know. So ideally, of course, we need to grasp both the social arrangements in people's religious lives and their ways of thinking. We can investigate the hard facts of popular religion by utilizing records of ritual events, regulatory manuals, gazetteers, legal documents, household compendia, setsuyoshu is what I'm referring to, and numerous other types of documents that have been preserved in temple archives and other kinds of collections. And thanks, in fact, to Professor Tamamuro and his colleagues and students, there's been so much progress made in unearthing these local sources in recent years. So with due diligence, we can now acquire some sense of people's relationship with their ancestral temples and so forth, as well as the ritual activities in which they may have participated, including activities at prayer temples. Temple-based lay societies call for that matter, their local shrines. And we can gain insight into the economic dimension, which he emphasized quite rightly, and the socio-political. But the study of early modern thought has focused a great deal on the writings of the educated elites, the Confucian scholars, the Kokugakusha, the sectarian Buddhist leaders. And until recently, it seems to me scholars have downplayed popular articulations, even when sources were accessible, because they were not considered intellectually creative. Yet writings by ordinary, less educated religious practitioners, even if fragmentary in nature, are a rich source for understanding how Buddhism functioned in the society of the time. And even if those writings are not always available, we can endeavor to understand a person's way of thinking by considering other points of reference in the individual's social and religious world. Whom did the person associate with? What connections did he or she cultivate? What were the social networks? We heard about networks from Brian Rupert earlier. What were the social networks that served as sources of knowledge or inspiration? And if the person were literate, what sorts of texts might she or he have read? And in fact, Professor Tamamoto referred to several popular Buddhist-type texts. How much more time do I have? Okay. Now I wanted to just move on to the second sort of dimension of my talk. I've been talking so far about approaches because the theme of this conference was, it seemed to me, something about the study of Buddhism, right? But the actual question wasn't that. It was, what is Kinsei Buddhism? So now I want to just point out two distinguishing features of Kinsei Buddhism, Japanese Buddhism. Seem to have been shaped, I think, these two features of popular thought in general, I guess I would say, seem to have been shaped by Buddhist sensibilities. One is what I call the devotional outlook of most people of the time. In other words, an attitude of faith centered on some sort of powerful being, often a compassionate being of Buddhist inspiration, but could also be a somewhat threatening being. And people look to these deities for salvation, but also in some cases primarily for help with the problems of everyday life. The second feature of early modern religious thought that is indebted to Buddhism, it seems to me, is the growing interest in the condition of one's mind or heart, a kokoro. During the early modern period, we see the emergence and spread of a mentality according to which one's salvation or even enlightenment was thought to be related to success in moral cultivation. And it was based on the assumption that by refining or purifying one's heart or mind, often by means of specific, concrete practices, one could perfect oneself morally and ultimately fulfill one's religious and socio-political ideals, whether they be Buddhist or other. Students of the early modern period often associate the values of the time with Confucian education. However, even early in the period, before the widespread diffusion of distinctively Neo-Confucian ideas of self-cultivation, moral values occupied an important place, of course, in popular discourse, whether in vernacular written works or oral sermons. The propagation of values was very much the domain of Buddhist writers and preachers. Just one example who comes to mind, Suzuki Shosan. He's well known for his efforts to spread this sort of basic morality, along with his very peculiar version of Zen Buddhism. But far more influential than any individual teacher was the dissemination of ideals by numberless traveling preachers and storytellers, as well as by writers of vernacular tracts, kanazoshi, including vernacular dharma talks, kanahogo, miracle stories, tales of virtue, which are called jitsuroku, and stories of saintly individuals. And some of these sermons and stories were, of course, ostensibly about how to attain salvation or gain a good rebirth in the Buddhist sense, but at the same time, they effectively conveyed the importance of simple values, such as sincerity or compassion and generosity. It wasn't just filial piety and loyalty. The emphasis on personal morality was part and parcel of the message of faith or devotion to the Buddha that informed people's religious lives in Tokugawa, Japan. And it was later reinforced by the popularization of Neo-Confucian mind cultivation, or Shingaku, a teaching that linked moral perfection or enlightenment with the quest for social harmony. But the devotional practices, of course, did not fall by the wayside, the rituals and prayers and so forth dedicated to deities. Early modern religion is characterized precisely by the way in which ordinary people, under the constraints of the time, and we have heard about that in quite effective detail, developed a sense of responsibility for their own salvation, even while calling on these powerful beings for help when the need arose. Mahayana Buddhism had long ago laid a foundation in Japan for this multivalent way of thinking. On the surface, it may seem that worship of Amida or Jizo would have little connection with the more internally oriented self-cultivation programs inspired by Zen or Neo-Confucian teachings, which spread among the middle sectors later in the period. However, if one looks closely at popular religious discourse of the early modern period, whether Buddhist or Shinto type in inspiration, one frequently finds reference to the idea that the Buddha or Kami is in one's heart, and that one must ensure the correct frame of mind, that is, purify oneself, in order to carry out the ritual successfully. In other words, the devotion is itself an act of internal cultivation. Carrying out rituals centered on a great figure or deity who personifies compassion and wisdom, or perhaps, sort of conjures up something fearful even, requires a frame of mind that is not unlike what the Confucian scholars meant by reverent seriousness, uyamai. The context with purifying the heart or mind is also found, the concern, with purifying the heart or mind is also found in the late Tokugawa and Meiji, early Meiji especially, but beyond too, especially in the teachings of the new religions. Attention to the inner self by means of meditation, introspection, group discussion, breathing techniques, diet, chanting, and so forth is said to lead to moral improvement and thus blessings from the deities, including good health and prosperity. In short, the individual pursuit of moral perfection is combined with the hope of union with, or perhaps salvation by, a powerful deity. Buddhism of the early modern period may have exerted its broadest influence in Japan by contributing to a way of thinking that embraced both moral cultivation and devotional practice. I'm done. Yeah. I have a little more time, you're saying? I have a little more time?
Yeah, you have 5
Okay,
more
okay.
minutes.
Then in that case, no, I wanted to just pick up on some things, and this is now not something that the translators have a text for, okay? So I'm going to have to talk a little slower. And this is really a more, this issue of periodization. I just wanted to say a word here. It was brought up by Ryuichi Abe and also by Brian. I think Brian said that the medieval ends with the Onin War, which is interesting because we just heard that that's where the wild deities start. And I think Keller Kimbrough said that medieval ends with the advent of woodblock printing. So he's into the 17th century already. To my mind, considering the literary history and even art history, it seems to me that it's really the second half of the 17th century that we have to talk about here when we begin the early modern, perhaps even the Genroku era. I want to add a few more years then, perhaps, to not just the advent of woodblock printing, but once it gets going. I mean, when the stuff is really coming out and people are really reading these vernacular texts. Hank also dealt with these vernacular texts. I think really, when we talk about dissemination of values of Buddhist ideas and so forth, it's really the vernacular texts that are more to the point, not the ones that were written in Chinese earlier, even though those were disseminated in their own way. And I just wanted to mention that Amida no Monewari, for example, that sort of text is so close in its kind of way of persuading to the so-called Koshiden, tales of filial piety, which were very popular beginning in this period as well. Just lots and lots of reprints of these kinds of stories, and were written by Buddhists and also by unemployed Confucian scholars and many others during the period. So I think they were all part of this larger expansion of moral education, if you want to put it that way. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up. And I wanted to also, I'm not sure if I understood correctly yesterday, but it seemed to me that both Shimazono sensei and Sueki sensei referred to views of Buddhist thought, or perhaps historiography that arose in the Meiji period in response to the advent of Protestant Christianity. I think it was especially Sueki sensei. But Shimazono sensei said, if I'm not mistaken, that the elites of the Meiji period, the Kindai period, used Dogen and Shinran, so to speak, to establish notions of individual salvation and social ethics. And I just wanted to add, or rather ask maybe, whether the Neo-Confucian influenced sort of Shingaku-teki mentality might also have something to do with that. This emphasis on the individual and on internal cultivation. And I have a couple minutes, apparently. So I will just say one last thing here about the Kojin business that Bernard Forer brought up. What happens to them? don't we have those also in the early modern period? And if so, can we call them distinctively medieval? So I will leave those questions out there, and then I will leave Professor Tamamoto with one question too. He told us actually in his written paper he had more than he was able to share with us, but I guess the question I would put to him is, what about the spontaneity? What about, the pilgrimages that started out being spontaneous and so forth? And did they just all end up being routinized? The ko were established, and then the ko were sort of became part of the system too? Is that his view? To what extent did the ko themselves, in fact, become perhaps a little subversive? I mean, I'd like to draw him out on that point. Thank you.
最後の今質問がありましたけども、公や巡礼ということでありますけども、これが大体盛んになってくるのは1700年ぐらいからです。でそれなぜかと言いますと、日本人の戸籍が全国的に作られるのが大体スタートするのが1670年からであります。で1670年になりますと、戸籍が村単位の戸籍ができます。これを収支任物改め帳というんですが、でこの戸籍ができるようになりますとですね、伊勢の御師とか高野聖とか、それから金毘羅山の御師とかいう、そういう全国で民衆の信仰があった講があります。でそういういわゆる営業マンですが、それぞれの神社やお寺のそれが村にやってきまして講を作らせます。で、伊勢の場合で言いますと15軒のうちに1つの講を作ります。ですからその村に150軒のうちがあったとすると、1つの村に10の講を作らせます。そしてそれぞれの1つの講でだいたいそうですね30両ぐらい、30両ぐらいのお金を集めます。そして、その利子を 10% の利子を取ります。そうすると3両になりますね。と今のお金にすると大体30万円ぐらいのお金になります。でその30万円のお金を出して作って、それを使って第三講といいまして、必ず伊勢にその30万使ってですね行くようになります。江戸からの距離でいうと大体15日かかりますから、往復で1月かかります。でそういうような組織を作っていくのが1700年ぐらいからであります。でこれは何も伊勢に限りません。伊勢と高野山と、それから金毘羅山、この3つです。あとはもっと狭い範囲です。いわゆる山岳宗教、霊場信仰というのは、例えば関東地方とか近畿地方とかという規模のものがその次の大きさにあります。でさらにもっと小さいものは今の大体一つの県単位ぐらいの霊場もあります。でそういうものがこう重なり合ってそういう組織を作っていきます。ですから例えば私の住んでおりますのは神奈川県の藤沢ってとこですけども、そこの江戸時代の村役人のうちの日記を見ますと、1年間に12人ぐらいのそういうその霊場の御師といいますか下級僧侶がやってきてお札を配ったりしております。どれが聞いたか分かりませんけども、ただそれの全国的なものは今申し上げた3つの項で、 でそういうものが民衆の信仰とつながっていったのが大体1700年と考えていただいていいと思います。でそれぞれの令状では古い古いと言いますけど、それは古いのもあるかもしれませんけど、それがずっと続いたわけではもちろんありません。江戸時代になって民衆の生活がある程度豊かになってから、そういう形の信仰が定着していったと考えられます。それからもう一つ、なぜそういうものが流行るようになったかといいますとですね、一つはさっき申し上げましたように、寺受け制度によって葬式は決まった寺でやらなければならない。そうすると葬式以外のもので自分が求めるものはどうするかということになると、今申し上げたような霊場信仰ということになります。で霊場信仰はどちらかというと減税利益、つまり病気を治すとかですね、そのいろんな自分の持っている願望を解決してくれるところでもあります。でそれに対して寺というのはつまり来世のことしか考えてもらえないところだということです。ところがその寺の方もですね、境内にいろいろその時流行ってる仏さんとか流行ってるその神様とかというのを境内に連れてきて、遠くへ行かなくてもうちのお寺で完結しますよという、そういうスタイルもこう出てきます。例えば88箇所霊場というのは、私の寺なら私の寺にですね、そこの砂をみんな取ってきて持ってきて、そこを踏めば四国全部行ったのと同じですよという、こういう信仰になっていく。でそういうものがたくさんあります。その一つの寺で完結するのもありますし、一つの郡ですね、郡で解決するのもありますし、一つの国で解決するのもで、いろんなその範囲によってですね、3日コースとか1週間コースとかという、そういうものもですね、自分たちの方で作り上げていく、そういう形態もあります。でもその農業経済から言うと、そういうものがある程度出来上がってくるのは、農村がある程度経済力を持ってくる1700年前後であります。それは何から分かるかというと、それは年貢割付帳というのが、つまり幕府とか藩がお米を取り立てますけども、その割付帳の収入が上がってきた時点ですね。早いところでは1660年代、一般的には1700年前後になりますと、そういう形での経済力が民衆の側に出来上がってきますので、30万円ぐらい使った旅行もできるようになってくる。それからいろんな霊場に行くようになります。よろしいでしょうか。はい。
Well, I'm going to shamelessly abuse my power as the chair here. And I would like to ask a question of the two speakers before I open up the floor to the audience. And the question that I would like to ask the two speakers is something that I think perhaps wasn't as much addressed in the two presentations. And I wanted to know to what extent they think that the self-understanding of the Buddhist clergy changed in regards to a sectarian consciousness during the early modern period. Do you want to go on first?
Okay. Is this working? Okay. This self-understand. Wait a minute, Barbara. I have to get some clarification from you. The self-understanding of the Buddhist clergy, how did that change during the early modern period?
Yes, during
okay.
the early modern period.
Okay. It depends on their level. It would seem to me that it would depend on their level in the hierarchy. For example, if they were spokespersons, if they were, priests of head temples or just more powerful institutions, then I would think their identity would be something they were quite conscious of and would have to sort of uphold given the system. But I think that there were so many other lower level personnel associated with the temples, and they weren't even necessarily sometimes priests, so to speak, but people who worked cooperated in various manner with local temples would have been much more fluid and heterogeneous, I should think. Less concerned with that, maintaining that particular sectarian identity. I really don't know because it's not something that I've studied in terms of discourses that would shed light on that. I can think of things like Banke, the sermons that he gave and the sort of impression that he gives of himself in terms of his relationship to the Zen sect. I mean, we almost don't hear about it at all. But then again, those texts were addressed to popular audiences, so I wouldn't expect to find any. It'd be very hard to determine that unless you went and looked at individual little records or something about what people were saying to each other, perhaps within the community. But they wouldn't be maybe saying that in the sermons and the kinds of texts that we have. So that's the difficulty there. I'll stop there and see what he says.
僧侶になるためのですね、アイデンティティといいますかを考えるときに、その僧侶の出身がどういうところであったかということを考える必要があると思う。でその場合にですね、日本の人口の 90% までは農民でありますから、僧侶の出身は大半は農民であります。でただ例外があります。浄土真宗、当時は一向宗と言っておりましたけれども、その浄土真宗は結婚してます。子供もいます。浄土真宗と修験、山伏ですね、これは江戸時代、江戸時代より前からそうですけども、結婚して家族があります。でそれとそれ以外の宗派は皆独身、建前は独身です。本当はどうか分かりませんけども、つまり独身であります。ですからこの両方によって考え方は違うと思います。浄土真宗の僧侶というのは、原則的には自分のうちの後を継ぎます。ところが次男坊以下はお寺の住職になれませんね、一人しか。ですからどっかの娘しかいないところの養子に入るか、それができなければ他宗の寺の坊さんになります。で私のお寺はですね、明治以降私の父までで5代目でしたけども、そのうちの、父も含めて4代は浄土真宗の西本願寺の末寺の子供の三男坊以下であります。宗派だから宗派はおかしいじゃないかとお思いでしょうけども、おかしくないんであります。その程度しか問題ではないんであります。それからもう一つはですね、一般的にはそうでない場合は農民か町人かの子供ですけども、その場合にもですね、長男は坊主にはなりません。自分のうちの後を取ります。で次男坊以下ですね、日本では口減らしって言いますけども、おしんというドラマをご存知かもしれませんけども、男おしんが僧侶になるというのがこれがコースであります。よろしいでしょうか。ですからその気の利いたアイデンティティなどというものを考えることがナンセンスということになるんじゃないでしょうか。つまりその僧侶を志願して僧侶になったって人もあるかもしれません。あるかもしれませんけども、原則的には寺に行けば何とか食えるということで次三男坊を寺にやります。でこの寺に入ったからといって僧侶にずっとなるかというとそうでもありません。寺の坊さんが檀家の中で娘しかないところで相続人がいない、その場合に自分の生まれた寺よりはよっぽど金持ちのうちの寺の娘と一緒に結婚させる。これも坊さんのその住職の力量であります。ですからなるべくいい寺に行ってなるべくいい檀家のある寺に入るということも一つの条件ですから、頭反ったからといって一生坊さんになろうなんていう発想を持っている人もないわけではないですけども、つまりいろんな選択のチャンスが寺にありますから寺に入ると。ですから昨日から出ているような道元とか親鸞とか英才とかいろいろ出てましたけども、そういう人とはちょっと違う人がお坊さんにたくさんなっているという、そういうふうに考えてください。以上です。
Well, I'd like to open the floor for discussions. Yes, please.
隠れ念仏と
はい、
あと日蓮宗の不自不捨のですね、
はい、
どれぐらいの影響力があって、
はい
またそれが隠れた形で公に対して影響力があったのかどうか、
はい、
それをちょっとお聞きしたいと思います。
これ木場さんが来てますから、隠れ念仏については木場さんに後で細かく説明していただきたいと思いますけども、隠れ念仏と隠し念仏というように分けて説明をする場合もありますけども、例えば私は九州の熊本の出身ですが、隣の県が鹿児島県という県では隠れ念仏というのがありました。でその隠れ念仏というのはですね、これは島津藩が一向宗、つまり今の浄土真宗ですが、その浄土真宗の布教を許さなかったんですね。禁止したんです。で九州では島津とその隣の相良という人吉というところですけど、その2つの藩は禁止しています。でその禁止した藩はですね、全国にいくつかありますけど、いずれもですね、守護大名から戦国大名になって、さらに近世の大名になったところ、つまり一向一揆が厳しかった時からずっとその地域にあった大名ですね。そういう大名たちは一向一揆の怖さを知ってますから、つまりとにかく浄土真宗は禁止しようという政策をとっております。ところがその大名が変わるとですね、次の人は認めて、よろしいというケースももちろんあります。それから不自不捨派の場合にはですね、ちょっと違いまして、これも、日蓮宗の専門家がお見えになってますから余計なことを言ってはいけないのでありますけれども、安中さんに後で補足していただきますが、そうすると僕は逃げられるんですね。ですね、その不自不捨派の場合にはあくまで教義の問題なんですね。つまりその発端になったのはですね、秀吉のお葬式に、お葬式じゃないですよ、法要ですから、葬式と考えていただいてもいいんですが、その法要に参加するかどうか、京都の宝光寺っていうお寺でですね、供養があって戦争供養をやります。その時に、日蓮宗にも100人の坊さんを出しなさいと。でその1000人の坊さんを呼んで何をするかというとですね、大般若経の転読をするんです。で大般若経の転読というのはですね、本を読まないのを積読と言いますね。で転読というのはですね、転がすという字を書くんですけど、アコーディオンみたいにシューッとやる。でこれは我々が一回やったのではこれダメなんであります。読んでませんからね。ところがお坊さんは毎日それ読んでますから、お坊さんが一回やるとこれ読んだことになるんです。そうするとですね、1000人の僧を集めて、そのお坊さんたちを全部一つのところにまとめて一斉にこれをやりますね。そうすると1000回やりますと100万巻読んだってことなんですね。そうすると100万巻読めばどうなるかというと、死んだ人がいかに仏教嫌いであっても極楽浄土に行けるという、こういう信仰なんですよ。そういうこと言うとみんなに笑われますけども、建前としてはそういうことになっております。でそれを日蓮宗のある部分の明覚寺というお寺のお坊さんで日王という坊さんがいますけども、日蓮上人以来日蓮宗としてはそんなことをやったことがないと。つまり法華経の信者でない人の葬儀に日蓮宗の僧侶として参加すべきではないということで拒否する。ですからこれはもう将軍やその将軍の奥さんやずっとお葬式があるときは各宗派全部出てってそこでこれをやるわけですが、それに参加しなかったのでキリスト教と同じように日蓮宗不自不捨派は江戸時代を通じて禁止されます。で一向宗の場合は今申し上げたようにいくつかの大名が禁止しているのであって幕府が禁止しているわけではありません。ですから隠れ題目、不自不捨派は隠れ題目といって、それから一向宗の場合には隠れ念仏と言いますけれども、中身はちょっと違いますね。よろしいでしょうか。以上です。
から檀家制度からいわゆるはみ出たいわゆるフリーブディストっていうようなムーブメントはなかったもんでしょうか。
はい、
で私私の体験から言いますと私は東北ですけれども東北は隠し念仏と言ってます。で東北はもう曹洞宗の地盤ですが、私の村ではいわゆる形としては曹洞宗の檀家になっていて、それで自分たちの信仰はいわゆる一向宗で隠し念仏と言ってます。隠れ念仏じゃなく隠し念仏という、それで檀家としては曹洞宗なんですが、家々の仏壇はいわゆる浄土真宗の仏壇を祀ってるんですね。でいわゆるこの門と物知らずで、彼らはあんまりそのお寺の何て言いますかあれにこう従わないというか、そういうふうな気風があるんですね。でそういうちょうど何て言いますか同じ仏教内でいわゆるキリシタンを弾圧したようにそのパターンがですね、同じ仏教の中で曹洞宗と一向宗とこうなんか対立じゃありませんけれど、住み分けて生きていた農民がやっぱり特に岩手県の水沢地方には強く残っております。
ありがとうございました。
はい、どうも。
そういうケースはございます。ただですね、私が申し上げておりますのはその檀家制度っていうのが寺受け制度と一緒だもんですので、その新宗に変わるわけにいかない。ですから、宗門人別帳を毎年作成いたしますけども、その時にはその菩提寺の檀家という位置づけになりますですね。だけども持ってる信仰は違う。それは隠れキリシタンもそうでございます。現実には、表側が阿弥陀さんで裏側がキリストの写真というような写真じゃない、絵像ですね。そういうものがその隠れキリシタンの村などからは現在でも発見されておりますから、実質的にはキリスト教信仰をやってるんだけども、その表向きはその菩提寺の檀家というそういう形です。ですから信仰そのものは非常に形骸化してたと考えてよろしいんじゃないかと思いますが、よろしくお願いします。
計算高い僧侶の伝統のにおりまして、大変、厳しいお話を聞かせて、反省もしておりますが、ただこういうことはどうなのかなというふうに思います。これは先生玉室先生のお考えは分かったんですが、宗教というものを考えるときに、プリースト側のさまざまな働きかけというのは当然あるわけですが、やっぱりそれに応える、信者側のニーズというか、そういうものもあるんだろうと思いますね。ですからその両方が相まって宗教、具体的な信仰とか宗教運動とかそういうものが起きてくるんだろうと思いますので、必ずしもその僧侶側の仕掛けだけが、経済的な理由による僧侶側の働きかけだけがですね、何か信仰、具体的な宗教生活というものを左右する、決めるということだけでは、僕は信仰の問題、宗教の問題はやはり語り尽くせないのではないか っていうふうに私などは思います。私は近世のことについての専門ではございませんが、制度としての寺、今さっきコメンテーターの先生のお話がありました、制度としての寺っていうものと、制度から外れた民衆といいますか、そういうものの宗教的ニーズはどうなってたのかということもやっぱり考えなきゃいけないと思っておりますので、これは宗教を研究するという場合の立場の違い、考え方の違いかなとも思いますが、確かにさまざまな、経済とか政治とかいうものを考えずして、宗教の信仰だけを考えるというのは非常に問題があると思いますが、その両面を、考えながらいくという方がよりノーマルかな、ノーマルと言うといけないですね、よりリーズナブルな話かなというふうなのが私の考え方でございますので、ここであんまり議論をするつもりはございませんが、そういうふうに考えているということ。ありがとうございました。
ご指摘のことは重要なことだと思いますけども、限られた20分の時間の中で何をどういう角度で切るかということになれば、ということで私、テーマを立てたわけでございます。これが2時間時間をいただけば、今おっしゃったようなことにもかなり触れられたと思いますけれども、そういう意味でですね、今のご指摘はもっともだと思います。それから、ちょっと先ほど言い忘れましたけれども、なぜキリスト教を禁止したのかというご質問が全然出てこなかったんですけども、もしかして、ここにおいでの方は皆さん仏教徒かなというふうにも考えたんでありますが、キリスト教を禁止した理由はですね、コンチン・スーデンという人がバテレン追法令というものを1600とちょっと待ってくださいね、18年ですから5年引けば1613年に幕府が出しました。でその時の一番大きな問題はですね、キリスト教がすでに宣教師の報告によると日本全体で200万人いるということを耶蘇会に報告しております。そこで、一番危機感を感じた幕府はですね、九州の有力な大名たちが積極的にキリスト教を受け入れてキリシタン大名になったのもたくさんおります。でその時の一番の問題はですね、鉄砲をそれぞれの大名たちが新しい鉄砲を仕入れたわけですね。ところが戦国時代から江戸時代に至るまで全国統一をした大名たち、つまり織田信長、豊臣秀吉、徳川家康というのはいずれも最終的には鉄砲隊で勝ってるんです。あとはそれほど強かったわけではないんです。そうすると自分よりもっと新しい鉄砲を九州の大名が持ってるっていうことは、これは大変なことだということで、それをまず禁止するのが一つです。それからもう一つ強調しておりますのは、その欧米諸国が日本を植民地化するんではないかと。でこれでは困るということで、とにかくそのキリスト教を禁止してしまおうというのが中心の眼目でありました。でその後そういう危険がなくなってもずっと禁止してるのはおかしいじゃないかとおっしゃるかもしれませんけども、明治5年まではとにかくキリスト教は日本では禁止する。だけども先ほどのご指摘にもありましたように、実際には九州それから山口あたりでは隠れキリシタンがたくさんいますから、実際にはキリスト教信仰が行われていたことも事実であります。お答えにはなりませんでしたけど以上でございます。
Unfortunately, we have to end the discussion here, so if you have any more questions for the speakers, I urge you to come up and talk to them in person, and for the rest of us, we can go and have a cup of coffee. But thank you very much.